Hi. So, again, in case you didn't know, I am currently 13 weeks pregnant when I'm filming this, and I wanted to do a video on baby items I don't use. So I did a baby registry list of things that I think you need and a list of just ideas to put on your baby registry. But I actually wanted to do this video and explain all the baby items I don't use, and there are actually quite a few. So I will go through them and explain why I don't use them. So the first thing I don't really use is burp cloths. Now I do actually have some that I do use, so you're kind of like, what do you mean? So we were given these and I thought I would really like them, but the baby spits up once and it's done. Like, you're shot for it, because if you flip it over, it's like on you. If you flip it down here, the baby spit ups like where the baby's laying. You go through so many of these, and the baby only really spits up a lot for the first few months, and then after that you don't have a use for these. So as much as I wanted to love them, I didn't use them, and we were constantly looking for them in the wash. So instead, these cotton swaddles were a lifesaver. Baby spits up, fold it over, baby spits up again, and you can do this like 30 times because it is huge, and plus you use these for so many other things, so you always have one laying around. So definitely would recommend swaddles, the cotton swaddles, or a little blanket to use as a burp cloth instead of actual burp cloths. Again, all of these things are going to be personal preference, so if these are things you really liked with your baby and you can think I'm crazy, or if these are things you really want for your baby, by all means add it. But these are just things that I found I didn't use. So I did keep a couple of them because they were really cute, and I will use them for the first couple weeks. But in all honesty, I always reached for these last. The next thing that I really wanted to like are Velcro swaddles. So the one where the pouch is at the bottom and you slide your baby in and then you Velcro their arms in. I really wanted to like those. I thought they looked so much simpler than swaddling them yourselves. But for me, they never fit right. They were too big and not swaddling them enough. And by the time it fit him around to able to swaddle him, he was too long for them, and they just worked for like a few days, and then he got so strong that he could just rip the Velcro open. And as much as I wanted to like them, I just couldn't. And they just ended up being impractical, and I'd always try them, and then they were too small, and then they were too big for him, and not too big for them. He was too big for them. So as much as I wanted to like them, they just weren't something that ever worked for us. It was much easier just to swaddle him ourselves. The Bobo chair, the rounded chair that you set your baby in sitting upright, I really wanted to like that. Like, I thought I would love it. My sister had one for her kids when I was younger growing up, and I thought it was so cool, and I wanted to like it, but I didn't. He just, I don't know, it was like he was too small, and then he was just too strong, and he could put his feet on the table and push himself off, and it was always kind of tipping over. Perhaps if you had the one with the actual chair part that, or like the plate part that hooks onto it and kind of holds them in more, maybe it would have been fine, but it was just not something that ever worked for me, and it took up a lot of space. So between that and the other baby items I had, I just chose to use other things. Pacifiers. So this one a lot of people really like. I knew going into it that I am a lazy mom. I am not going to want to have to make sure I packed a pacifier, make sure I have a pacifier upstairs, at home, in bed, all over the place. I didn't want to have to worry about them. I didn't want them going to the store and dropping them on the floor and having to worry about all that stuff. Call it lazy parenting, call it honesty, whatever you want. I knew I didn't want to deal with it. Some of my family members use pacifiers, some of them don't, but I just didn't want to start that. I didn't want them addicted to it. Aubrey, our oldest, was addicted when she was littler, I'm told, and my husband positively hated it. And he was against pacifiers, but he didn't want to say anything because I'm the one that was breastfeeding, and he didn't want to put that like, oh, you can't use a pacifier on me, since I'm the one that the baby was going to want to latch onto in place of the pacifier. So he never said anything, but when I said I don't want to use pacifiers, he was like, thank goodness. He was like, I hate them. So it was something we agreed upon, and it was just something that I didn't want the baby getting attached to and having to take away from them later on. and they just seem like a big hassle. You always have to remember so many things: diapers, wipes, change of clothes, all the things, and I just didn't want to have another thing to remember going places. Now, the next thing that we never used was baby food. We did the baby-led weaning. There are many videos on YouTube about that. I do not have one, but there are awesome different videos on that, and there are also on Pinterest pages about it. There's so many things that you can look up on baby-led weaning, but they don't use baby food. Baby food typically isn't very good for the baby. There's a lot of sugar and stuff in there that they sneak in there that really isn't what you'd want your newborn eating anyways. But also, they're expensive. And then also, on top of them being expensive, it just was easier, honestly, to do the baby-led weaning. And it was something, they started eating just, making sure we had some vegetables on the hand that were soft, some avocado, whatever it was, and it just was so much easier. We also were given a baby making machine so you could make your own, which would be super healthy. But honestly, once I found out about baby-led weaning, that is just the route we went on, and it was honestly easier than having to make baby food as well. So we literally ended up giving away our baby making machine because it just wasn't practical for us, and we really enjoyed the baby-led weaning. The other thing that I was given that I really thought I would like is a changing table, but I didn't. Because you have only one spot where you can go and change your baby then, and again, call it lazy parenting, but I liked when I was upstairs to just be able to change the baby. And so I would just lay the mat down, change him anywhere. When we were downstairs, I would just sit on the floor and lay the mat down. And as he got older and it got warmer, because he was born in the winter, so I didn't want to lay him on the cold floor because we have wood floors. As he got older though, when it got warmer, I wouldn't even lay the mat down. I would just quickly change him as I got more confident in my baby changing diaper abilities. I would just lay him on the floor and change his butt, and you could do it anywhere. The kids could run and grab me the diapers and the wipes. If I was in the kitchen and I needed to do it, or if I was on the front porch, wherever I was, I could just quickly change him where I was and not have to worry about taking him to a specific spot in the house, especially since we would have had to put ours upstairs, and I'm not going to want to climb upstairs every time my baby needs changed. That's just the honest truth. Baby shampoo. Now, this is actually something my midwife suggested, not using shampoo on the baby when it was born. And she says that she does not encourage using shampoos until the baby is old enough to be crawling around outside and digging through the mud. She's like, until your babies actually get dirty, you can just wash them off with some water and they are perfectly fine. You also don't know what your baby's going to be sensitive to, especially when it's first born. So to risk putting baby shampoo or baby wash on your baby and them having an allergic reaction, for us it was just easier to wait until he was older. So once he started playing in the dirt, we would just get the kid shampoo, and we jumped right into kid shampoo. We didn't have to worry about the baby shampoo, and it worked out wonderful. Other than that, we just used water and a wash rag and just cleaned him off, and he always smelled fine. It wasn't like there was anything left on there. The water was enough because, again, he wasn't running around playing in mud puddles. He didn't need a lot of scrubbing. Along with the baby shampoo is baby lotion. So I did eventually start using baby lotion, but when he was first born, I was using olive oil on him, and it worked out really well, except my husband said he smelled like we were gonna fry him. So I eventually did end up using some baby lotion that was given to us. But with this baby, I am going to try and use coconut oil and see if that is better. Because of all the scents and stuff that is in baby lotion, I would like to stay away from that, but we'll see if I'll be able to. The next in the bathing category is baby baths. I find them to be a nuisance, personally. I really tried. We had 2 different ones, and then we were given a 3rd one, and they just never worked for me. When your first postpartum, you're not going to want to be bending over a bathtub, and you don't have a lot of stomach muscles back yet, and it's really hard. And so we would always just wash him in the sink, because no matter what kind of baby bath you get, we had the ones with the little seat in there to hold them up, and the laying down one with the little seat. He just would always slip. So you always have to have your hand under his butt holding him up anyways, or under his neck supporting him anyways. So at that point, what is the point of the baby bath? Because that's what the baby bath is supposed to be doing. So for us, it was easier to wash him in our kitchen sink. So I would clean out the kitchen sink and I would wash him in there. I would hold him and use the sprayer to spray off his hair gently. And it was standing up at a normal height for me. I wasn't having to lean down when, again, my stomach muscles weren't there because I had just given birth, and try and hold him up and support him and wash him. It was just so much easier. And then as he got older and started getting too big for the sink, I just started taking him in the shower with me. So I would shower him off, and if my husband was home, I would hand him out to him. And then if my husband wasn't home, I would just put a couple inches of water in the bottom of the bathtub and give him a normal bath. But if my husband was home, it was just easier to scrub him off real quick and hand them out of the curtain and go on with our day. A baby walker. And I don't mean the things that they walk behind, but the actual thing where they sit in there and it has the wheels and they walk. We were highly discouraged by my midwife to do that because it is really bad for the baby's hips. She says because they don't learn to do 2 feet because they don't have to support themselves. They do 1 foot and they push themselves, and 1 foot hangs down lower than the other foot. And she said it was just really bad for the baby's hips. It was very counterproductive to them learning to walk because they still would have to learn to walk with both feet anyways. So she was something she discouraged. And also we didn't really have room for. It wasn't another baby item that I wanted to have. So since she highly suggested against it, we went with that route and never ended up getting one. The next one is a nursing pillow. Now I actually do have a nursing pillow and I did use it occasionally. I really wanted to love it, and I'm going to try this baby again because I think now that I have nursing figured out, I might actually enjoy it. But when I was starting out nursing, I was really struggling with my latch, and then having the pillow, I felt like, you know, he was too high or he was too low on my boob, and I just could never get it to set up right. I felt like it didn't support him enough, and then it was, you know, supporting him too far away, and it just was another thing to try and hold on to. And since I was struggling so much, I just would end up holding him where I wanted him. And then by the time I got past that and finally figured out how to get him latched and stuff, I was already used to just supporting him with my arm, so I never used it that much for nursing. But I am going to try it again this time because I do think that it would be a nice relief on my back if I can figure out how to use it properly. We did, however, keep this and use it for Isaac because when he was learning to sit up, it was nice to set this around him and prop him up half laying down. And then as he got stronger, he would actually use it to help himself sit up. So we do use one a little bit. But I put it in this video because we didn't use it that much, and I'm not sure if we're going to actually use it for what it's for as far as nursing. I will update after this baby's born and see if I've grown to love it. It was something I really, really wanted, and I was actually given 2 of them, and I was so excited about it. I kept one upstairs, I kept one downstairs, and I thought that I would really, really use it. And I was very disappointed when I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. A baby monitor. Now, somebody wanted me to get one of the ones that lay in the baby's crib, and then if they stop breathing or move off of it, they alerts you. It alerts you. And then they said, well, they roll off of it and then, you know, then it starts going off and it kind of scares you. And I was like, yes, I'm a nervous Nelly. I would have been a disaster if that had happened all the time. And so I did not get that. I was not for that. I did not get a baby monitor either. It would be nice to have one when you're going outside. And then I wouldn't have to run inside every 5 minutes to see if the baby woke up. But for the most part, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm always home. When the baby is really little, I use my bassinet, and the baby sleeps downstairs where we are 99% of the time. And then as he got older, you know, you kind of get a little bit more comfortable. You don't feel the need to constantly see what they're doing and check 100 million times to see if they're breathing. So I didn't see really the need for a baby monitor. It's just another expense, another thing to have to take care of and set up and do. So there are certain times, like I said, if we want to go outside, would be nice to have. But we also usually keep our windows open in the summer. So if we're outside, we can hear the baby through the windows. And then also, if not, I just come in and check on him a lot. And like I said, when he was really little, I just carried his bassinet. It was a detachable bassinet, so I would just carry it wherever we were homeschooling or working the house, and I just leave him there and so I could watch him sleep while I worked or did whatever I needed to do. And even I would take him outside in his bassinet and he would sleep outside in the bassinet. So a baby monitor wasn't important to me. Obviously, I know a lot of people who use them and love them, but also there's like the horror movie thing where like the visual ones where you can hear other people talking in them. And I was just like, that really turned me off of them. Like, I've heard so many horror stories about like hearing other people, you know, picking up other people's things, that just, it really creeped me out. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. I just couldn't. So that is the last thing that I have on my list of baby items we don't use. I'm sure there's a lot more baby items we don't use, but those ones are kind of traditional ones that a lot of people do use. And I love watching these videos. Personally, the ones where people say what they don't use in baby items or whatever it is, I find it very interesting, what works for some people and what doesn't work for other people. So hopefully you found this a little bit interesting or insightful, and I hope you have a great day.